have our make. Okay, so now that we have our makefile ready, let's go ahead and run it. And we see that the program compiles successfully, and then we execute our test cases, which I moved to just a simple bash file just to make it a little bit cleaner. And none of our test cases yet have any output, which is right, because our proj4 file is empty. So let's jump into the file and get started. Great, so now that we're in proj4, I'm going to go ahead and start out by declaring our error messages. So let's go ahead and compile that, and all of our error messages seem to be input properly. So let's hop back into the ASM file, and we'll get started on the main routine. So first thing we want to do is define ASM main end. And this will let us reference this place in the file so that we can jump there once we get started. And the next thing we want to do is start with the actual tasks. So the first thing we need to check is that we have the right number of command line arguments. We can do this by comparing RDI, which stores the value of argc, which is the number of command line arguments that was passed. We need to compare that to 3 because we need 2 of our own command line arguments, and the name of the executed file is also passed as a command line argument. So we need to increase by 1, right? And we'll say if that's equal, then we'll jump to correct num args. Otherwise, we have an incorrect number of CLA, and we'll implement that logic in just a second. And we'll define correct num args here. And that's all we need to do so far. So let's go ahead and we'll implement the logic for if we have an incorrect number of command line arguments that was passed to us on the stack. So here we're going to call a subroutine arg verifier, just as the lab asks for. So let's go ahead and set that up. So first thing we want to do is we will push the keyword value of RSI onto the stack. This will give us the address of the program name. Next, we need to push RDI, which is the number of command line arguments. And then we will push some fake element onto the stack. And we do this because we always want to push in an uneven number of arguments. Then we'll simply call arg verifier as was requested in the lab, and we will jump to the ASM main ending. Great. So now let's go ahead and we'll define arg verifier, which is a subroutine to our ASM main. So again, we'll need to enter 0, 0 and save our registers. And then we'll also need to restore our registers, leave, and return, which I'm just going to go ahead and copy that code. So now we're within the body of arg verifier. So let's go ahead and start defining that. So we can do this in multiple ways. The sample solution references the stack memory directly. I'm going to go ahead and do it a different way using the pop, just to show another method of achieving the same goal. So first, we're going to go ahead and pop into our BX. So RBX now will hold the address of the program name, and then we'll pop again into our CX this time. And this will be the number of CLAs, command line arguments, and then we can just pop one more, and this can just go into our CX or our DX, and this is just our dummy. Okay, so then we will start printing out our error messages up above. So first we will move into the value, move into RAX, the value of error1A, call print string. And then we will move into the value of RAX, error1B. Again, we'll call print string. And then we will move into RAX, the value of RCX, which stores our number of command line arguments, and we'll call print int. Then we'll call print new line. And then we will move into RAX the value of air1c, call print string, move into RAX the address of RBX, call print string, and then we will move into RAX again, air1d, call print string, and then we can let our exit routine run. But I did miss one step here, so I did mean to decrement the value of our RAX because we don't want to include the name of the name that was called in our number of command line arguments passed. So let's go ahead and save that and make it. And we can see here that our first two test cases start to run successfully. So we do define the incorrect number of command line arguments, right? Just as the message asks us to. And then the number of command line arguments is in fact 1, right? Here. And then we get lab4, which is the name of the file. And we never hard coded in proj4. And the same is true for test 2. So both of our first two test cases are running, and we're already finished the subroutine.